Guys, honestly, I'm just doing my morning routine. People always have questions, and I had a free moment. So I'm just going to do my morning routine. And if you guys have questions, then hopefully you guys can see. The laptop is probably, or not laptop, this is my tripod. So, okay, first thing I'm going to do in my morning routine is, well, I already drank my hydrogen water actually, but now I'm going to clean my water and make my smooth for nutrient purposes. Basically, it's my multivitamin. This is how I do it. And there's a reason that I do it the way that I do it. And I've had a ton of blood work throughout the years to basically make sure it was working, because I am definitely not biased. I don't really care. I just want the truth. And so that's how I'm going about it now, because this is what works the best. And of course, I follow the latest science and data. All right, so the first thing I'm doing right here is I'm actually going to clean my water. It's just kind of a routine that I do. This is not a normal water filter. This is a reverse osmosis, which is not good enough. There is pretty much no water filter in existence that's quote unquote good enough. And so what I have to do is I have to carbon distill the water. It's the only way to clean water to the highest degree. So I'm filling that up to do that right now. Now I made already, and by the way, you guys, if you want, just see if I can adjust this tripod. You guys can ask questions if you like, and I'll try to, let's see. Oh, Northern Yeti, nice. Happened to be on my phone and got the alert for a live stream. Yeah, I just decided to do one real quick. We'll see how long it lasts. Been getting a lot of questions lately, so I thought this would be easier way to do it. And as you know, just kind of doing the normal routine anyway. So this is how you clean water. And when I say clean water, I'm talking about all the chemicals, all viruses, all bacteria. And remember, I'm not making any medical claims or giving you guys any medical advice. This is simply what I do. This is the water that I made last night. So the distiller takes about, depending on what kind you have, anywhere from 3 to 6 hours to truly clean your water and make a gallon. And this is almost ready. So I'm going to show you guys how I put it back in the, there we go. Okay. So hey, yeah, Northern Yeti, it's good to see you. This is not going to be a regular thing, unfortunately. It will be later, but as of right now, I've been really busy and I just haven't had time to do it. And there we go. Okay, so now we have a clean, like really clean gallon of water. And what I mean really clean, boy, guys, you know what I'm thinking about doing if you guys are interested, is I'm thinking about doing a video about all the stuff in our water, because I don't think people really truly understand how bad it is. And then people wonder why they're getting sick, and they really don't understand, and they think that they think bottled water is good enough. Definitely not. And they think that just running through a normal filter is good enough. In my opinion, not even close. And you know, when I give my opinions, I'm sure you guys know, like, I mean, I've seen the lab tests. So I know how much carbon filters can and cannot do. So I'm not just giving wild opinions. They're based on data. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop just one drop of these minerals, because when you carbon distill, it removes everything. So yes, all contaminants in the water, from PFAS to literally radioactive contaminants in our water that people don't know about, to again, viruses and bacteria, just so many things. Oh, you know what? I should show you guys how I'm doing this. This is extremely difficult. This thing's heavy. And it's awkward to hold with one hand. Okay, so I'm putting it in this guy. There we go. And then what I do, and today for some reason the iPhone wants me to have it in a weird angle, so it's kind of hard to see the comments. And I just fired it up, and there you go. It'll take a while, but that's what I'm doing as far as cleaning my water. That's what I always do in the mornings after I drink my hydrogen water. Okay, let's see. Janet says, hi, I have an issue with my new hydrogen machine. I can't get it to start. Orange light is on. What did I do wrong? Well, typically, if you have the orange light on, it means that the machine needs water. I'm going to assume you haven't read the directions or you haven't seen my video on how to set it up because, to be quite honest with you, that's like really, really basic. And it's, you have to learn how to use the machine properly. I would highly recommend watching my video 426 because if you don't care for the machine properly, it's gonna break. You're gonna break it. You need to make sure to use it correctly. And 426 shows you how to maintain it and everything, but I have some really easy setup videos. I don't know if you've seen them, but I would highly recommend them because what do they say? Picture's worth 1,000 words. It's a lot easier for you to watch the video where I specifically show how to do it. But yeah, you're definitely not having a problem with your hydrogen machine. It's just it most likely just needs water. But you have to make sure to do it right because if you put water the wrong way or the wrong amounts, it will break the machine. Um, let's see. Nice to catch you live. Hope you're doing well, says Love Always. Oh, thank you, thank you. But yes, I wish I could show you right now, but I'm actually about to do my morning. This is my morning routine as far as getting all my nutrients. So the first thing I do, everything is about food. The body responds best to food. I watched your video but missed something. Yeah, definitely, because you have to put water. Also, watch my video. What number is it? Watch my video on how to change the cartridge or the filter, because sometimes if you put water in it and it's not going through, it shows you kind of the way to fix that, if that's what's going on. But yeah, you have to check to see if there's water in the cartridge. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to put in there is my purine powder. This is all made from food. This is, oh, thanks for the thumbs up, guys. I forgot about that. Seeing you guys do that. Thanks. So this is kind of in the way here. But the first thing I do is the purine powder. Maybe I should move this guy. Now remember, my smoothies, I'm always kind of adapting them and doing different things. But for the most part, my foundation is always the purine powder. And I don't take a multivitamin, believe it or not. And yet most people are nutritionally deficient in something. And I'm talking well over 90% of Americans. So I'm going to put a little bit of this, because the reason that I also like to put it with my smoothie is because it literally works with the fiber in fruits and vegetables. The fiber in fruits and vegetables actually help aid absorption of nutrients. And on top of that, I already had my hydrogen water, which in my opinion also helps. And that's one of the reasons that when doctors contact me, because I've had those funny stories where they contact me, they're like, how are you getting your nutrients so high? Most people are deficient and yours are perfect. And they literally want to know. Now, this is just raw cacao. I picked some up a while back, and it's obviously extremely good for you. Numerous benefits, and it has natural minerals like magnesium too. I like to get my minerals from food sources also, for the most part. That seems to be the best way. And of course, everything's organic. We need to minimize our pesticide load in our body as much as possible. These are flax seeds. And there's studies on flax seeds. There's specific studies showing how good they are for their anti-cancerous. Let's put it that way. You're going to notice that most of my ingredients are anti-cancerous and also anti-parasitic, which may surprise you. It surprised me because I've researched a lot of these foods, and just about everything I'm putting in here is, well, anti-parasitic. This is just a little bit of wheatgrass. Somebody actually gave it to me, so I've just been kind of putting a splash of it in there. And it's always got to be, again, organic stuff with no other ingredients. I just like the raw food, just the actual food. I don't like when they put other stuff in there. Now, this is one of my personal favorites. Let's see, it says, hey, Greg, hope you're doing wonderful. What do you think of the liver cleanse by Andreas Mortiz? I don't know if you heard of it, but I looked into it, but I feel like I'm on the fence about it. And then, hello, Hydrogen Man. What do you think of cold pressed celery juice instead of blending it so it minimizes oxidation? Okay, so as far as liver cleanses, of course, this, by the way, I'm putting turmeric or turmeric, however you want to pronounce it, in there right now. Organic. I love this stuff. It's really good for you. So many health benefits. I think liver cleanses or liver flushes are really, really good. The problem is I hate to say this, but most people don't know how to do them correctly. The body needs to be prepped. If you do not prep the body, you will not only not get the most out of it, but potentially also cause some harm and some issues. And then as far as the person who was talking about the oxidation, um, celery juice is great. I mean, I put celeries in my meal here. The thing about celeries is, and we're going to put them in here today, I like to use the fiber of them. Why? Well, because look, remember guys, I go off of all the research. So I don't go off of people's opinions, and a lot of people have opinions and they watch, God knows where they get them, but I tend to follow the actual scientific data. And basically what I've learned throughout the years is, especially from the Japanese research, because they're so into health and they research this stuff like no one else. And they found out that the fiber in fruits and vegetables is extremely unique. And it's not normal as far as like, oh, they're all the same. No, they're all different and very unique. And so the fiber from, let's say, spinach as compared to the fiber from a blueberry, all these different fibers are different. And that's why I like, and the benefits from them are actually very interesting. And so that's the reason that I'm very big pro fiber. Um, but I'm not talking like a fiber supplement. See, these companies are always trying to sell you these things, and that's why I just like the normal raw food as the ingredients. I don't want anything, and if I can actually just use the actual food, which you see me doing here, this is definitely what I prefer, the actual food. The fiber does so many things where, one of the things that may surprise you is we don't actually consume enough fiber. So as far as the celery thing, that's fine. Now, as far as the oxidation, that's a very intelligent thing to realize. And there is a way around it. And unfortunately, I'm not doing it today, but I'm a huge fan. The reason, I'm not doing it today for a reason, and it's mostly because I'm making this smoothie I'm going to be sharing it with a lot of people. So this picture that I'm using is bigger. And so that's why I'm doing this one today. So it's not as good, but the one that I really like is this one over here. This was just happens to be smaller. This is a vacuum blending system. And this thing's awesome. You can find it at void-system.com. This is actually my favorite because it will suck the oxygen out of there. So when you blend it, it won't oxidize it. And there's actual data showing that it's real, it's true. I thought it was a little bit of a hoax at first. Looked into it very deeply as I do with things. And it turns out it's real. So that's why I got it. It's super awesome. And that's what I would recommend. It's probably, in my opinion, just a simpler way to go. Okay, let's grab more ingredients. All right, so let's see if I can answer some of your other questions here. I'm hoping that person with their light on the machine figured that out because, hey, you're going to want your hydrogen water. Okay, I already had that this morning. All right, let's see. Hello, Hydrogen Man. What do you think of cold pressed? Oh, yeah. Whoops. I'm going to do something by accident here. And have you heard of celery juice being a magical herb? I don't know if I'd call it a magical herb. I know that it's got health benefits, honestly, just like most fruits and vegetables do, and nuts and seeds and beans. Those seem to be extremely, magical, special from the data and the research that I've looked at. You could probably pull up all sorts of stuff, but right now I'm making this guy. All right, boy, this is going to be, I wonder if I put a little too many of these today, but that's okay. If I put too many, then I can't put the rest. Okay, let's see, what's next? Northern Yeti says, makes sense about the fiber. I know I do much better with fruit fiber than a lot of veggie fiber. Well, it kind of depends. And then sometimes your stomach needs to get acclimated because this is what happens. It's actually very interesting. When you eat something, let's say you're not used to eating spinach or certain types of foods, you have bacteria in your stomach that are designed to handle those things. And the more that you eat of those foods, those bacteria that handle them, at least hopefully you have them, then because there are certain foods that, depending on our genetics, we're just more apt to being able to digest better. But you got to find what works for you, obviously. And the fiber from all the research shows, one, that it actually helps detox the body. So I'm literally drinking the cleanest water in the morning, and then of course with hydrogen in it. So in my opinion, right there, I'm already doing some detox, right? And when you drink water that is not super clean, well, in my opinion, yes, it helps, but at the same time, you're kind of introducing certain toxins into the body. So that's my first thing, right? That's what I do in the morning. Always clean your mouth before you drink the water. As crazy as that sounds, I thought it was nuts at first. But you brush your teeth with no toothpaste, just water and a toothbrush. Just brush real quick, nothing crazy. Make sure to brush the inner surfaces of the mouth, the roof, the tongue, the inner lining of the cheeks. Why? Because we literally grow, what the Japanese discovered is that we grow cancer-causing bacteria in our mouth when we're sleeping. And so people oftentimes just wake up and they drink water or they drink coffee or they eat something without actually cleaning their mouth first. And then you ingest those bacteria. So you actually want to make sure to clean your mouth first. Then I have the water, right? Well, this is the very next thing, because in the mornings I didn't start my smoothie, or I didn't start the camera, obviously. And today I had actually some trouble with it, so we'll see how long we can go today. Okay, now I'm going to put some organic blueberries, because blueberries have a crazy amount of health benefits too. And that's why I like to use them. They're usually too spendy to use on the regular, but since I found them frozen, so much more affordable. Now, thanks for the thumbs up again. Wow, just saw those. So here's the thing. So fiber appears to help pull, heavy metals out. It acts like a broom. It goes in and starts, quote unquote, cleaning house through your GI system. But it also helps regulate blood glucose. Helping regulate blood glucose is extremely important. It's one of the reasons that a lot of people with diabetes, and I'm putting some walnuts in here, of course, walnuts, they have good oils, good fats, have also been shown to be, actually, I believe, anti-parasitic also, but on top of that, they're anti-cancerous. There's been really good research on that. And of course, they have also very unique nutrients that I like to get in my smoothies, and they just make them creamier and make them taste good. So that's why I like to put them in there too. And of course, if you notice, just about everything I'm putting in here has fiber in it. Okay, now let's put some quote unquote clean hydrogen water in this guy. As you guys probably know, I like to put the water as I go. And that way the fruits and vegetables actually can soak in the water, which again probably sounds totally nuts, but again, always finding research, and the hydrogen can get into that stuff. Okay, now I'm going to add some more minerals into this. Now, the reason I'm adding minerals with the actual fiber is because everything that's paired with the fiber is like, it's going to help you with absorption of nutrients. See, the problem is what people don't understand, I guess, when it comes to health, and there's just about nobody in here, so only 5 of you are going to hear this secret that people just really, I guess, just don't understand, is that it's extremely important for us to get our nutrients, and people are really having major problems with absorption. That's why they're, like I told you, I've shared this story before, and now I'm putting hydrogen chia seeds soaked in water. Boy, these have all sorts of omegas, minerals. All these foods have minerals and obviously nutrients. That's the thing about fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds. And now we're going to put a magical bean in there. As you guys know, this is natto, or if you don't know, it's a fermented bean. The research on this is pretty much unbelievable. So many things that natto does. I mean, well, one, it thins your blood a little bit, which is really nice, almost like a natural statin. Just thinning the blood just a little bit, so that way you get better blood circulation movement, getting into all the nooks and crannies. It also has a really unique enzyme called nattokinase or nattokinase, depending on who you ask as far as pronunciation. It's also been shown to oxygenate the body, including cancer cells. So it does appear to be anti-cancerous. One of the more recent things, I was going to do a video about this, but I'll just share with you guys here. The few people who will hear the secret, because there's only 4 of you. They've now discovering that natto appears to help actually increase testosterone levels. So like men who are aging and their testosterone levels are having issues, and by the way, this is how you activate it. You have to stir it like this. The data shows to stir it at least 100 times. And as you stir it, you're going to see it foam up, and that's what it's supposed to be doing. You're activating the good bacteria in here. It's oxygenating it, it's breathing. And so basically, this stuff, I mean, on and on it goes, is just unbelievable. You can pull up all the health benefits for literally each one of these foods. We've done it before on other videos where I basically, pull up natto, or I'll pull up spinach, or I'll pull up chia seeds or walnuts, and I'll just show you all sorts of interesting information, but it's definitely mind-blowing. Now, the amount of protein in this stuff is pretty darn high. You actually have to be careful. They tell you not to eat probably more than 3 or 4 of these little things a day, because just too much protein can strain the body too. So you don't want to have too much, but you also want to get proper absorption of things. And again, the fiber, which helps pull out all sorts of garbage out of the body, makes you regular. Like a lot of people who strain to go to the bathroom or have bowel issues. I've worked with a lot of people who've had bowel issues, and there was one in particular that just comes to mind right now. It was actually a girl. Boy, that poor thing. She had all sorts of GI problems for years, ever since she was little. No doctor, nobody could solve it. And she just lived like that. She said she would literally not have a bowel movement for like a week or more, thought it was normal, stuff like that. And she actually started doing my protocol. She did a clean water with hydrogen and these smoothies, and altered her diet a little bit, and resolved all her issues. So she was super happy. Okay, now I'm going to put a little bit of green tea from Japan. I definitely do not do green tea from anywhere except Japan. Super important. There's many health benefits to the green tea powder also, but probably one of the main ones that I really like is just that it happens to be also anti-cancerous. Okay, now another anti-cancerous and anti-parasitic ingredient, ginger. So we're going to put a little ginger in here, and it gives them a nice spicy little flavor. I know this thing's probably, you know what? This thing's probably all crazy, isn't it, guys? People who've never seen my smoothie videos are like, what in the world is this? And believe it or not, and of course some people are like, you really do this every single day? I'm like, yeah, every single day. It's kind of my routine, just the way it is. But yes, it's all about proper nutrients, clean water, and keep your parasite count low. Try to prevent certain things from coming into the body. Obviously, hydrogen is probably the most magical thing, but all these things work together. All these things work really great together synergistically. And I mean, I always do my hydrogen, as you guys know. It's, even if you eat healthy, and this is what I found too through my experience, even if I eat healthy, clean water and hydrogen are just too important, because eating healthy wasn't enough. I know that sounds crazy, but it wasn't. For me, though, remember, I had some pretty severe issues. Well, actually, a lot of people have severe issues. And I always start with clean water and hydrogen. I mean, you have to. I've seen some people, this is terrible to say, so I hate to tell you guys this because people take it the wrong way, but I've seen people who don't change their lifestyle and only do the clean water and hydrogen, and boom, they get the results anyway. And I don't like saying that story because I feel like people try to take the easy route, and that's fine, but I just think you can get more, quote unquote, out of your health if you do both eliminate certain bad things that you may be eating. Yaddy, yaddy, yaddy. Let's see here. I'm trying to see if I have any. I have this produce, depending on where I go, and just pick them off of trees and stuff like that. And winter's obviously here, so not as much. But I want to use them up because they're definitely going to go bad. Okay, let's see here. Make sense about fiber. Okay, I find that Japan matcha green tea gives me a euphoric happiness feeling, unlike coffee. It does have a unique feeling to it. It's interesting that you say that, because I don't bring it up because I think you have to kind of be sensitive to it. But I do agree with you. Green tea is pretty magical. Obviously, a ton of scientific evidence. for how amazing it is for you. I'm putting an apple here today because I happen to have one. This one was organic off of a tree of somebody that I know. And yes, green tea, extremely special. And some of these things, I know things can be kind of expensive too sometimes, but I gotta say, these days, I mean, sometimes you're just happy that there's food on the shelves, over, at the grocery store, and happy if you can find certain things, you know. But yeah, times are kind of crazy right now, which shouldn't get into that kind of stuff because what do they say? Never talk about politics or religion. And you know what? Yeah, we'll leave it at that. But obviously, do I have my own opinions on these such matters? Yeah, I do. But humans in general, I observe human behavior, and that includes the politicians and stuff like that. And humans, man, I just hope someday, and I believe that there will be someday, just wish that people who are leaders of nations or countries or whatever, all I can hope for is that they care about people more than themselves. And I think that's kind of a unusual thing, it seems, these days. But just so you guys know, this is actually why I make these videos for you, because I care about people out there who are sick. For those of you who watch my videos, you know that I was once very sick. And that's why I'm doing these videos, to show you guys how I got out of the mess. And mine was really extreme. Most people's stuff, pretty easy to fix. I hate to say that, but it just takes a little effort, though, and a little patience sometimes, depending on what it is. Oh, thanks for all the thumbs up again, guys. Wow. Sorry, I don't look at the screen the whole time because kind of focused on doing this. So yes, we're doing some apples. How about them apples? Obviously they could be prettier, but I'm still happy. I still love you guys. Still love you, apples. I'm like, dude, are you talking to the apples? Well, if you guys know, I'm sure you've seen how people talk to plants. And we also know that water responds to our intentions inside, words that we may say. That was from a book, a Japanese guy. I remember when I first heard about it, I thought, what nonsense is this? But man, it was actually quite impressive that he was able to prove his point. So always be grateful. When you're grateful for things, it responds. So even these apples, and I am grateful for it. It's real. I'm not just saying that. I'm very grateful that I have these apples, even though they have some bad spots on them. I'm just going to cut them out because, boy, there's all sorts of nutrients, all sorts of phytonutrients, all sorts of antioxidants, a unique special type of fiber, of course, as usual. And there's so many properties to all these different types of foods, And I know some people, it's kind of crazy, and I know why they're, you can always twist the narrative. And I know some people, believe it or not, actually think that fruits and vegetables are bad for you. Now, clearly we have long-term evidence that shows otherwise, but I guess I won't get into that argument. I probably shouldn't have even brought it up because some people get really weird about that. They can't seem to have a conversation about, certain things without getting upset about it. But I think it's pretty clear that fruits and vegetables are good for us. But it's not, fruits and vegetables is not enough, though. We need the nuts, we need the seeds, but we really need the beans. Without beans, honestly, guys, good luck without beans. Beans are so important for us. You know what it is? It's about being balanced. That's what it really comes down to. Not just one thing or the other, like, all I'm going to do is eat vegetables, or all I'm going to do is eat, fruit only, or I'm only going to eat meat, Life is about balance. And they all have their kind of unique properties. Now I'm putting a pear in here. And yeah, so this is just a morning routine. The thing that really blew my mind was a study actually on fiber. That's something that really, I mean, I knew about the properties of fiber. I was actually doing fiber originally just because of a Japanese study in regards to regulating blood glucose. Specifically fiber from vegetables was the most important for regulating blood glucose. And if you were to consume it first thing in the morning, basically like I am, after obviously I have my hydrogen water and everything, that the fiber from fruits and vegetables mostly can help regulate blood glucose literally all day long. And I thought, what? That's crazy. Wait a second. And it was a big discovery. In fact, the cool thing about it, this is something I like about research like this, is that it revealed something that we did not know about the human body. The Japanese were like, wait a second, how is this happening? So they obviously took a deeper dive into the research. They could see that it was doing it, they just didn't know why it was doing it. And they ended up learning something about our GI system. We have these tiny little holes in our GI system. And the fiber from the vegetables, for some reason, goes into these little nooks and crannies, and they will be there throughout the day, almost like a time release, and it helps regulate blood glucose all day long. So I thought to myself, well, how am I going to get vegetables every morning? And of course, I started doing smoothies, and the smoothies are to try to get a lot of things inside of me that I just can't ordinarily get inside of me, because honestly, it's hard to get enough vegetables in you. Now granted, I've gotten so used to it, it's not that hard for me, but most people have a really hard time. And I've worked with a lot of people. In fact, I'm one of the reasons I haven't been able to make a lot of these videos lately, because I've been helping people who have been ill, unfortunately, and it's taken a lot of my time. But I've been wanting, it's hard for me to say no and not help people when I know I can. And so anyway, that's part of this whole smoothie thing. I'm like, okay, this is the only way I can do it. Is it the best way? I mean, you could argue that, but is it better than just eggs and bacon, or is it better than just quote unquote the average things that humans do? Well, I think so. I mean, I'll tell you one thing. I've seen the results. It's unbelievable. But that's also why I do blood work, to make sure that I'm doing things correctly. Okay. Tricks is for kids says, you're right that it's easy to get healed, but it's really hard in today's society because social media is ruining our focus and our programming us to be lazy and quitting on the lightest of struggles or something. Yeah, there is a lot of laziness, and you know what? I understand. It's not like I've never been lazy in my life. Now, for me, what changed that, and this is just me. I don't know if anybody would go through this, but for me, it was actually being ill, because once I couldn't do things, once I couldn't walk, I couldn't even do any of this stuff. My wrist hurt so bad, no way I could chop vegetables or any of this stuff. Um, it was, it made me be grateful for things that I once took for granted. Gosh, aren't these beautiful? Look at these guys. I just, nature's beautiful. Everybody knows that, but it's just so cool. Okay, let's see here. And so I'm putting some beets in here. A lot of the things that I'm putting in here, very interesting too. Most people never think about it, don't talk about it. They get the body to produce something called nitric oxide, not nitrous oxide, but nitric oxide. This stuff opens up blood vessels. So between that and the natto, which thins the blood a little bit, and hydrogen, which moves the blood, guys. See, one of the secrets to health that I guess most people never talk about and they don't think about, secret to health is actually moving the blood. Moving blood is so extremely important. And that's why when people eat a certain way, their blood gets all clogged up. They need stents. They need to take, pharmaceutical statins, which, I'm not a fan of or whatever. Things of this nature. I'm debating here whether I should put a little bit more beet in there. Let's just cut a little more, I guess. These beets, I personally love raw beets. But I kind of like them mostly in my smoothies. They're just sweet, they're crunchy, and I love the color. They're so colorful. They actually stain everything. And numerous health benefits. Yes, it's obviously good for the liver, but the nitric oxide is one of my favorite benefits of it. And so I became very grateful for little things. I mean, like, I'm grateful that carbon distillers exist. I'm grateful that the hydrogen machine, geez, that was a really, really big one because when I was doing my research, I just kept finding numerous not good things about, dare I say, most hydrogen machines out there. And I was like, gosh, what's wrong with it? And I would learn as time would go on. And the more I learned, the worse it looked. Kind of like this doctor. There was a doctor who just recently wrote a book. It was a really great book. It was funny because he was, I liked his honesty. He basically said that there was no difference between organic food and non-organic food, in his opinion, right? That was his opinion. Then he took a deep dive into it because he was going to do some research, and then he did so much research, he decided he was going to actually write a book about it. And by the end of it, he said, boy, was I wrong 10 years ago. He said, organic, what a difference. It has higher levels of nutrients, is one thing he discovered. It has higher levels of antioxidants, which is actually very interesting because the plants have to fight. See, the plants have to fight for survival and to grow, and that fighting produces certain things, kind of like exercise. When we, strain our bodies and exercise, they grow and get strong, and there's a lot of different benefits. Even like getting into saunas. I finally got access to a sauna again. I've been without sauna for years now. It really. By the way, here's the celery that person was asking about. We're doing the celery right now, and so you have to, in my opinion, this is all my opinion, guys. One, I know everybody just wants to feel good, and I get that. And nobody wants to put in the effort. We just want it easy. Hey, I'd probably like that too. But I just gotten so used to this, and it really seems, for me, the core of all this seems to be of love, to be honest. You have to like love yourself, respect yourself enough to do this for yourself, but also it just feels so good. I mean, I gotta tell you, it's unbelievable. You know, the way my brain works, the way I feel. Probably my favorite thing is and it's just too much information, but the way my bowels move, because I was never really super regular or anything. And this, I just never thought that this would do that. I remember I wasn't doing this to be regular and even fix GI issues. I was trying to fix other stuff because a lot of these ingredients are also highly anti-inflammatory, as is my hydrogen water. So all that's obviously really great. But it just changed my life. And I thought, man, I'll tell you, there's all these people selling products and all this stuff out there and different things. But to be honest, I don't, I feel like, my own personal opinion, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but I think a lot of these things out there these days are just kind of scam. You don't need much. I mean, all I have is a carbon distiller to clean my water, my hydrogen machine, which is obviously super awesome. It does so many things to the point where I don't need a lot of different supplements. And then I just need my nutritional supplements. That's just nutrients. That's all it is. It's not really, like one person was asking about copper. They're like, oh, I got to buy copper and I got to buy this. And they had so many supplements. And I was showing them how that's actually in food. There's foods that I consume that have all that stuff in them. And I'm not deficient in any of that stuff. I was able to do it without it. And I believe most people can't. That's my own personal opinion. So life doesn't have to be as complicated as we make it. That's one observation I've kind of noticed, quote unquote, about human behavior, humans in general. We overcomplicate things sometimes, especially our governments. My goodness, I feel like they overcomplicate things on purpose. Like, oh, let's start this program and start that program and tax more and do another program. It's like, okay, at some point, it's like, okay, guys, I feel like it'd be best if we could just get a good education. We can take care of ourselves. But anyway, again, I probably shouldn't talk about that. I'm sure everybody knows that there's so many things happening in the world these days that there is a lot to talk about. But regardless of what's going on, I mean, all these things are big things happening in the world. But regardless, you have to take care of your health. Health is foundational. I mean, the world could be falling apart, but if you're in crazy pain and you can't walk and you're sick or whatever, well, does it really matter? Because you're just like, well, I'm totally sick. There's nothing I can do, and you're probably miserable. Because I'll tell you one thing. Oh, man, I just dropped some of my carrot. Oh, geez, there goes another one. My goodness. Yeah, the world, it's funny when you're sick or you're in pain. I'll tell you, you don't even want to exist. So it's almost like nothing tends to matter much when you're in those places. Okay, see, now you're seeing why I chose this picture today, because the other one would have definitely not been able to fit all this. Now, one of my favorite minerals is actually one called boron. And go pick up that carrot. Boron is found naturally in raisins. And you know, raisins are pretty sweet, so I'm not going to put too many of them. And I'm also going to add, I already added them. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of raisins in here. It gives it a nice little flavor too because of the sweetness. Of course, these are organic, and they're more than organic. These are actually sun-dried. Anything that I can dry in the sun, oh, love it. I love things when they're, you know, the more natural we can get, the more connected to nature. That's, I think, one of our biggest faults as humans. We, let's see, somebody says, love and peace to everyone. That sounds nice. Well, hello. I am drinking it for more of a year now, and holy hydrogen, it is great. Health does matter. Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? I mean, it's, you know, sometimes we take it for granted. I'm not gonna lie to you. I definitely took mine for granted. But I was having problems a long time when I was really young. But it only got worse, and then it got so bad clearly that caused me to, well, you know, caused me to become this guy that you see here today, because I had to change my life. It was either that or death. I kind of had, you know what? When your back's against the wall, sometimes that makes you make certain choices. But yeah, I'm extremely happy with figuring out these very simple things. Now, granted, I have more in-depth protocols depending on how serious someone is or how fast you want to heal too. The amount of time. So this thing is pretty much ready to roll, but let me get a little more hydro water in here, just a little bit. And normally, you don't have to do it, but once in a while, let it soak in there longer. But since we got all you guys here, I will not waste anybody's time. And I might have to say goodbye soon, so any last questions, this is your chance. Okay, you can see the water's up to there. Now, the question is, do you think this will actually blend it? Or do you think you'll break the blender? Because I will say, if you try this with most blenders, it's not going to work. And yes, you can burn them up, and I have done that. Burned up blenders. All right, you guys want to see if it'll work? Let's see it. Ooh, there we go. All right. Okay, now let's grab a couple we used today. Okay, we'll try this guy out. Okay, I'm gonna grab a few more ingredients. Make sure that thing doesn't move, because sometimes it wants to run away on me. Now, this is one of the few supplements you kind of have to get. In my opinion, you can't live, it's not in the powder that I have, because this particular nutrient is almost impossible to get out of food. Sorry to tell you, but almost impossible. And you know what? I wonder if the microphone will reach. I just realized there's something else that I want, and I'm not sure if I have any downstairs. So this particular nutrient, I'm shaking it right now. Again, it's very hard to get in food. And the food that does happen to have this nutrient, not only can you probably not eat enough of it, if you did try to eat enough of it, it's so contaminated these days. Let's see here. It's so contaminated that if you were to do it, you would definitely get way too many heavy metals in your body. And that's really important to note, because I've seen it happen, and it's unfortunate the state that we're in. That's another reason I adapt my my diet based on what foods I know are going to be cleaner than others. So, and what is this magical nutrient? I'm sure you guys already know. Okay, let's see here. Somebody said, strange, people with money don't buy it, and those who want to buy it are in poverty. Something is not right. Yep, I kind of agree with you. I've seen that a lot, actually. I am sharing, though. I am sharing, do. So, all right, so that nutrient is vitamin D3, but it's D3 with K2 and it's ionic. This is pretty much the best way to get it, unless it's a two. Two's always going to be number one. It's still dealing with the chunks. I can hear that. Sometimes what sometimes helps is if I pour a little out. So let's see how it came out, and if it's still chunky, yeah, I can see it is chunky. So I'm gonna run it a little more. In fact, so sometimes what I do is I pour a little out like that, and I'm gonna just add a little more hydro water because it's a little thick, and plus it makes a little more smoothie for everyone. And I'll show you how I'm gonna add that D3. All right, so this is what I do. And it's funny, this is actually one of the reasons the doctor had contacted me, like, how are you getting your vitamin D levels to these levels? I can't seem to do it for my patients. And I saw your blood work, and they called me. And they wanted to know it was actually about vitamin D. And they also wanted to know about a lot of my levels actually were really quite good. But what was that other one specifically? Oh, iron. They wanted to know about my iron levels. Now, when they found out that I didn't eat meat, the doctor was super shocked. She's like, wait a second, that's not possible. She was absolutely blown away. She just couldn't believe it. But she said, well, your blood work don't lie. Of course, once I told her what I was doing, she's like, oh, she just thought it was like a simple supplement or something easy. She's like, oh, you're making smoothies and you're changing your lifestyle? Forget it. Because her patients, they just want to give them something easy. And she said, and they were already giving them vitamin D. It's just they weren't absorbing it as good as they wanted to see. They were having problems with that. And that's a big issue for a lot of people is proper absorption. And proper absorption, in my opinion, has a lot to do with, yes, the way your blood moves, the nitric oxide, the hydrogen, all that stuff, the fiber, but the state of your colon and the amount of parasites. Okay, now this one, let's see here. Somebody says, I apparently have a neurologic disorder that I recently developed that I see bright static in pitch darkness. Do you think it's reversible? In my personal opinion, yes, because I've had neurological disorders. So, in my personal opinion, I do think so. I think it would take some effort, of course, and a lot of times, yeah, that's just my own opinion, though. By the way, this is the next thing I'm putting there. Hemp hearts. Why hemp hearts? Well, they're the most well-balanced omega-3s and 6s, super important. Tons of protein again. I mean, I'm consuming just ridiculous amounts. But look at these nutrients. It's so ridiculous. It almost looks like a multivitamin. It's so amazing. And I just love the taste of it. So I'm going to sprinkle those on top. And voila, guys, this is my multivitamin breakfast, detox, nutrient, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of things. A lot of things. So let's just try it out. Honestly, that tastes really good. Extremely good. Okay, so let's do this. I might have to go soon, but you do have me for a little bit here. Any last questions? This is your chance. Because otherwise, I'm just going to finish my breakfast and go do some other stuff today. But this is, if you do nothing else, I can just tell you this. This is how easy, in my opinion, it is. If you just did clean, well, here, I can show you. Here's your clean water. Here's a hydrogen machine. If you just do clean hydrogen water every day, a good protocol, and if I do that, and then I do this smoothie for breakfast, and that's it. The rest of the day, you do whatever you want. You can just eat your normal lifestyle. You can go to McDonald's every day, whatever. If you just do that, I've known people who've done it. It is absolutely incredible. So, very life-changing. And there's a woman who really, really followed my protocol. And I wish I could do a video. I don't know how to do any of these podcasts or anything, which I'm going to try to learn in the future because I think a lot of people are interested and would like them. But she really, really followed everything. She had numerous medical issues. and pain. She said it changed her life. All her symptoms went away. And she said she feels super, super great. And she was probably one of the best, I don't know if I would call it students, but somebody who really put into practice everything that I'm doing. And her results were awesome. I think she did, oh yeah, there was a magazine that did a story on me. And they talked to her and they were just blown away because the person from the magazine was very skeptical. They wanted to talk to, they're like, can I talk to somebody else besides you, somebody who's actually done your protocols? And I was like, sure. So I reached out to people who contacted me before telling me their testimonials. You know, I've done videos on that. And the other thing I like to do is inhale the hydrogen while I eat. And it enhances, again, not only the absorption of the nutrients, moving the blood, dealing with any oxidation. I found it works really great because a lot of people don't know that with every meal we're aging. You know, there's a lot of things in regards to food that affect us negatively, even though they bring us nutrients. Okay, Kenneth says, what do you think about bioresonance, trying everything to help my wife with CKD GFR6 at the moment? I'm not actually a huge fan of the bioresonance stuff. Everybody's talking about this frequency stuff lately. There is something to frequencies. The Japanese have known that for a long time. In fact, I have a Japanese piece of equipment, very expensive, some of the best there is in the world. And it was never even close to just clean water, clean hydrogen, and a proper lifestyle and getting all your nutrients. The frequency machines are, in my opinion, over-touted. Everybody claims that their frequency machine's awesome. Most are made in China. I don't know if you guys really believe that China's trying to do Americans any favors by giving them equipment that is helping them with their health. Once in a while, there's some, like I did find a really good piece of ozone equipment, medical grade ozone that I do enjoy sometimes. It's really good. But most things I've been able to see be resolved with some very simple things. I'm telling you right now, in my own personal opinion, I can't say it enough, water. There is something seriously wrong with the water these days. Let me see if I have the lab report, so maybe you guys can see this, because it's hard. Some people just don't believe it. Guess not. No, I think I have the lab report for the water downstairs. So anyway, like I said, I'll probably get going here soon. I hope that I wanted to show you guys again how to always make that smoothie. I'm really sorry to hear about your wife, Kenneth. You can email me if you want to chat in more detail about it, but I'm not really that big on the frequency stuff. But I will say, in my opinion, frequency technology is going to evolve. And in the future, see, I think we're actually doing it wrong. That's what I really wanted to tell you. Frequency technology is real. It's just that we're not doing it right yet because we haven't really learned. We're in a kind of like with the whole hydrogen thing. First they had Kangen machines and they said it was all about the pH of the water, and then now they're saying they're hydrogen devices because they discovered that it's really the hydrogen, even though those devices are not doing it correctly, in my opinion, obviously. But well, it's, you know, I say it's my opinion, but It's not just my opinion. There's one of the top hydrogen doctors in the world highly does not recommend a Kangen. In fact, he uses the same exact piece of equipment that I use. He's like, this is the best based on the scientific data. You have to go off the data because that's how you figure out what works and what doesn't. So, and I can tell you one thing. I don't have the lab report. I know it's downstairs. But I can tell you, well, let's see, I can tell you some stuff that we know is in water. One is inorganic contaminants. I do have some information here, actually. Things like lead, mercury, arsenic, nitrates, copper, basically toxic metals, cause serious health problems such as cancer, a lot of different disabilities. These toxic metals, it's one of the reasons that I'm really wary of a lot of supplements, even a lot of hydrogen supplements. Like I'm not a fan of the hydrogen pills. I'm not a fan of cheap hydrogen equipment with cheap metals. It's all because of metals. That's my big concern. And this is just water too. It's so important. This is the reason that a lot of fiber flushes these things out. Keep everything moving. Very important. Second thing in your water, which you'd be shocked about, is radioactive contaminants. When I learned this one, I was like, what? Radioactive contaminants? I never even thought that'd be in my water. We're talking things like radium, uranium, plutonium. I know it sounds crazy. Obviously, they cause a lot of long-term health effects. See, a lot of people who end up having medical issues are like, how did this happen? It could be something that you're contaminating yourself with on the regular. You just don't realize it. Now, also biological contaminants. And what normal water filters can remove this stuff. I hope you guys understand this. We're talking stuff like E. coli, Giardia. We're talking like parasites, bacteria, viruses, different types of spores, cysts, living organisms, guys. That is in our water, and no water filter can get that out except for a carbon distiller. It's the only way. And then we have organic contaminants, things like gasoline, herbicides, pesticides, solvents. It's crazy what's in our water, guys. Absolutely insane. And it's not, the good news is that it's not expensive to clean the water. I mean, it's going to cost you a little bit. My machine cost me like, there's two kinds. With the discount code, they're like 600 and something. I think it's 500 and something with the discount code. And this one that I have is like 700 and something, and with the code it goes down to 600 and something. Super important. Now, what people don't realize, yes, it can cause illness, but who does it affect the most? And I think this is why we're seeing children be affected so much these days. It affects children the most. Bad water affects children. And think about it. Super important because are kids having more mental health issues? I mean, guys, the body is connected to the way you feel, the way how good your brain works, all these different types of things that are extremely important. Okay, Vivian says, no, I don't China. No, I don't China. Yeah, water I now full of dirt. You have no idea how much difficulties I had to have your Howley hydrogen device in. I'm assuming she's saying in China, or I don't know. Well, that's crazy. And then of course, young kids. Adults, their body is more prepared to handle such things, but it's still not good for us. It's just that we handle it better. Long-term effects is the thing that concerns me the most. And most studies that you see I always look at short-term studies versus long-term studies. And it says here, and by the way, I'm going to go real soon, guys, but it just says, long-term effects, it's very difficult to determine the long-term health effects of contaminants. But we know that obviously there's a lot of different types of these things that we know what they'll lead to. And usually it's some type of cancer or some other, disease. And we're talking about, right now, there are more than 100,000 chemicals in use today. The local water systems have to test and meet standards for only a little over 100 contaminants in order to say that tap water is safe. Think about that. We use over 100,000 chemicals, but we only testing for 100 of them in our tap water. I feel quite confident to know that there's way more stuff in our water than we realize. But that's why exactly why I like the carbon distillers, because those will remove basically everything. And I'd rather just do that. I don't need to know what's in there. I just need it out of there. And Jasmine Anna says, haha, wonderful. Maybe I had a gut feeling to not drink water and just juice as a kid. Albeit I know now juices ain't the solution. Yeah, of course. S Zone says, my dad always says, I have been drinking tap water for 64 years and I'm fine. You know, that's the problem. People make remarks like that. Like people who are like, well, I've been smoking for 100 years and I'm fine. You know, I think it's great that your father's been drinking tap water for however long. He probably doesn't realize how much it's affected him, whether it's his mind or his health. And he probably will find out. I've known people like that. In fact, just recently, there's somebody that I know very much with that type of mentality. And now they're extremely sick, have been through numerous surgeries, suffering like no other. And, you know, you can get away with it for a while. It's not like you can't get away. And some people get away with it longer than others. So anyway, you know, and you know what? If somebody, look, this is my own personal opinion, guys. If somebody wants to drink tap water, do you think it bothers me? It's their body, it's their life. If they want to suffer, or if they want to treat their body like that, that's fine. It doesn't bother me. I don't need to be judging them. I mean, I do these things for my body, for me to feel good. That's what's important to me. If other people don't care, no problem. Some people just don't care, or don't care enough. Oh, you're in Belgium. Ooh, Belgium. Holy cow. We got somebody from Belgium on here. Here, why doesn't everybody say where they're from? This will be interesting. Now, there's only 12 people in here, but like I said, I'm going to say goodbye very soon. But it'll be interesting to see where everybody's from. I only got a few more seconds. Canada. You know, I get a lot of people from Canada. Hold on 1 second. You know what? I should probably put that pear back in the fridge, actually. Give me a second. Save it for tomorrow. 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 I love you. Tomorrow. Excuse me. All right. Let's see here. Somebody says Canada, but currently in Paraguay. What? You're watching Jasmine Anna from Paraguay? Wow. Wow. Crazy. Okay. I like to drink about 2 of these a day. Maybe more. Let's see. It's Dramer, by the way. I changed my Draymore account to use this account for entertainment now. Awesome, Draymore. Draymond or Dreamer. Dagestan. Holy cow, you guys are all over the world. Small group, but good to see you, Draymore. Dramore. Wow. Paraguay and Dagestan and Canada and America. Anybody in America? Okay, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the thumbs up. Sorry I haven't done. Oh, Kenneth says, thank you, Hydrogen Man, for your feedback. I did purchase the same machine a few months back to clean my water. So the same hydrogen machine as yours. I purchased over a year ago now. Thank you. And by the way, I keep telling people this, and a lot of them it helps. So I'm going to tell you, Kenneth, make sure to watch video 426 if you have a hydrogen machine, because it really shows you how to care for it and get the most out of it. And a lot of people watch the video like, oh, I didn't realize. So S Zone says, yeah. Thanks, Hydrogen Man. You rock, brother. Save my health with your info. Oh, I'm so glad to hear it. Thank you for the kind feedback. I always appreciate that. Jazz Banana says, appreciate it. See ya. See you guys. And Catherine says, Chicago. Oh, okay. We got somebody in America. Not crazy. Most of the people are not even in America. I guess, what does that show us? I don't know. Something. Okay, guys. Any last questions? Otherwise, I'm going to sign off here. Saying goodbye. Time to say goodbye. All right, thanks for hanging out, guys. Wish you all the best. May you all be healthy and happy.